All right, welcome into Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelleday, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. We're having fun and getting it done, right? Let's talk about what these markets are doing. Now that we're open, off and running, let's bring up that corn board. If I click on corn, that's what should happen there, and it does. So far, so good. 2 1/4 cents lower there in that July contract. 4.60 1/4 last, one tick off the low of the day, and we've had a 5 1/4 cent range. So that'll give you an idea of what we sit there. Dees is now down a penny 3/4 to 4.85 1/4. That's a half cent off the lows and about 4 1/4 cents off the highs. All right, so that gives you an idea what so far we're doing when it comes to to corn. How about soybeans? Well, we're just steady a little bit better up front. We lose a little bit as we go out the backs, but July's up penny and a half to 12.15, even 5 cents off the lows, 3 3/4 cents off the highs. New crop, no, that's up just 2 ticks, a half cent to 12.01 1/2. And that's only about 3 cents off the low of the day. So we did print an 11.98 1/2 overnight. We'll see. We're now at 12.02, so we're hanging in there. We want to keep that 12 handle, don't we? How about wheat in Chicago? The Chicago wheat market's up 7 1/4 cents. 6.73 is last there, well off the lows of about 10.5 cents, and we're off the highs by about 8.5 cents. So I'm going to call that between us pretty much in the middle of the day's range. Go out to the Dees. That's up 6 3/4 cents to 7.16 1/4. That's just about 11 cents off the low of the day and 8 cents off the high. All right, so you get the picture. That's Chicago wheat. Moving on from Chicago to Kansas City. That's up 8 cents in that July contract to 6.83. That's the best part of a dime off the low of the day and about 8.5 cents off the high. Again, that's pretty much in the middle of that daily range. And that's 8 cents higher in the day. Again, 6.83 July hard red wheat. We go out to the Dees, hard red wheat in Kansas City. That's up 7 3/4 cents. Last price is 7.17 1/4. How about spring wheat in Minneapolis, you ask? Well, let's get that up there. 7 cents better in that July contract. 7.34 is last. That's 9 1/4 cents off the low of the day. 7 1/4 cents off the highs. All right, that again, much the same as we've seen in the other wheat contracts. Dees is up 8 1/4 cents to 7.56 3/4. Cotton is what? That's going to be a little lower, 14 points lower in that July board, 75.27, a very quiet trade. But the Dees is higher, 38 points higher, 74.67. And that brings us to our next guest analyst. That's Mark Soderberg. He's with ADM Investor Services. Thank you very much for joining us here today, all the way from the great city of Chicago. I just riddled off a bunch of numbers. Do they mean anything to you, sir?
Well, today we're still dealing with the crush numbers from yesterday, which were disappointing, came in well below expectations. I've been thinking we might see a little bit of a bump up in the USDA crush forecast of 2.3 billion. I think this past week's numbers take that off the board now. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see if the USDA ultimately lowers them a little bit. We did get export sales this morning as well, and they were pretty uneventful. 29 million bushels of corn. Year to date now we're up 27%. The USDA was pretty aggressive at raising their export forecast last week, 50 million bushels on old crop and 50 million on new crop versus the Feb outlook numbers. But 27%, new forecast now up 29%. So we need to see some improvement there. Bean exports, 10 million bushels on old crop. Pretty decent, but we're still not racking up midi on the new crop sales. Year to date on beans, we're down 16% versus USDA down 15%. So I think we're poised to see that forecast stay the same. Strong product sales, however, meal over 300,000 tons, about 9,000 tons of oil. I would be surprised if we actually see oil exports kick up here a little bit, and actually that shifted from usage from biofuels, where demand there has been weaker than hoped.
All right, we're a little bit behind the 5-year average in planting. We'll probably get it in, but I mean, you got a little bit of good weather there. I can see behind, but you say you might see some rain coming in soon.
Yeah, I think overall, plantings this week are going to prove to be a little bit below normal. We've had some off and on scattered showers, heavy rains, as we probably discussed earlier, across the Gulf Coast. But we do have a return of pretty heavy rains across the Midwest here early into the middle part of next week. So, yeah, it's going to get in, but I think you're going to see a bigger than normal percentage of it planted here in the last week or so, maybe even last week of May and perhaps even into early part of June.
Yeah, we have a farm up by Galena, up northwest Illinois, and I called the guy that we released our land out to. He's a friend of the family, and when I called him, I think it was Sunday, he was mudding in some corn too. So he's like doing the best he can with as dry as it's going to be, because he did say exactly what you said. It looks to get wetter sooner. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to need some dry days ahead to get it in here before the end of the month.
All right, we're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. Thank you very much for coming on. Mark Soderberg, he's with ADM Investor Services.
Thank you, Scott.
We'll be right back. We'll have some more livestock after this.